Okay, hi. Sorry. I don't know what that was about.
Good.
Um, we're fine. We're live now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Q&A. Listen,
Right.
I
Hello.
think what
I
happened
know.
is I pressed one button, but I was expecting more resistance on the thing on my Stream Deck, and when I pushed it, I it pushed it away from me, and then I pushed the button below it, which is the stream ending, and that's not what's happening. So in case you were panicking, that's not what's happening right now. The stream is not ending; it is in fact beginning. Uh,
Hello, everyone. Goodbye, everyone.
um. Anyway,
Also,
Q&A done by the Flash.
exactly. We actually did the whole Q&A in several milliseconds, and we're done now. Goodbye, everybody. No,
you want to watch me do the Q&A? You want to watch me do the Q&A again?
I'm sorry. First of all, welcome everyone to the Q&A after show for Tomorrow is Dead.
Woohoo!
I will say to begin with that I apologize in advance because for some reason I have just this nagging dry cough that just won't go away. So I apologize in advance for coughing directly into your ear holes. And I'm also secondly I apologize for using the phrase ear holes.
Thank you.
It
Thank
will
you.
never happen again.
Canceled.
But it can't be erased now. It's
I know.
there
I'm very sorry.
in our ear holes.
Yeah, they're in the network now.
Anyway, yeah. So we have a great show for you tonight. I know that there are lots of questions. Hopefully, somebody else can pull them up because my Discord is not liking the fact that I want to have Discord open and also have the video
I'm
up.
gonna go get those. I'm
Okay,
gonna go get
yeah.
those
I know we have
right.
we have some questions in there. Quite a few actually.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
we will get started here. We before we start, while John is looking up those questions, I will add that next week, a week from today, premiering on our YouTube channel for the very first time, The Gift of Goblins, last year's Christmas special, or Rule of Lore Christmas special,
What?
will be premiering live on YouTube next week at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So if you missed it last year and didn't want to go digging through Twitch VODs, it's now going to be on YouTube. You're going to be able to witness all the chaos of all of us playing goblins yourselves, featuring such folk as John Boyle, myself, Cole Morial. You have Jake Kyle GMing. There's
Master of the Pocket Meat himself.
Master of the Pocket Meat himself, our friend Dare, as well as Keith Asada from Total Party Chill. It's just a whole lot of chaotic goodness over there, as well as Danny Gage. It's just a lot of goblin-y, chaotic, holiday-themed goodness, and you're gonna get to see that on YouTube. So it'll be premiering live. There'll be a live premiere, similar to how Tomorrow is Dead premiered on YouTube next week. But then obviously it will be there in perpetuity. You can watch it whenever you want. So some of us may be in chat on Friday. So if you want to come hang out, bring your hot cocoa, your comfiest and ugliest sweater, and come hang out with us.
I just put my ugliest sweater away. It was hanging on this doorknob as it has been for the last couple of weeks. It is the most horrid thing that I have ever found. I was out thrifting with a friend. And I was like, oh, we were on our way out. She had found a couple of gifts for nieces and nephews with Nerf guns and shit. And I was like, oh, there's a bunch of ugly Christmas sweaters. We have to go look. And I was like, oh, this doesn't actually look that bad. And I pulled one off the rack. And it had these cool designs down the arms that I hadn't quite registered were text yet. Because emblazoned across the front of it in very Christmassy, knitted font was Santa baby, comma, degrade me. I can go get it if you would like.
Well, I think you have to now.
Yeah, I think I do.
December, I feel like you should be wearing this. I think you kind of made a mistake by not putting it on for this stream. But
Yeah, here we go. There it is.
I hate
Oh, wow.
everything about that.
I think earholes has been dethroned by the most,
Yeah,
as the most unfortunate thing uttered on stream so far.
I've been
think that's up
told
there
that it's
now.
like a
Yeah.
podcast reference or something because Call Her Daddy is on the sleeves, which I think is a
Cholera?
Call her daddy.
Oh, I heard cholera, Daddy.
Call Her.
That's a different thing. That's a totally different podcast.
Coming up next.
Yeah,
Here,
get your
Lord.
ugliest Christmas sweaters. Maybe not that one.
Maybe not that one.
We'll take it
Cool.
on.
Well,
Oh my.
how about that Q&A after show?
I have I got a whole list of questions, and actually,
So,
for everyone but Lucas,
I'll actually
you
just
can
say
click
before we get started, I will just say, so we are taking questions that were posted in our Discord, but if y'all in the chat also have questions, you feel free to put them in the chat. Just make sure you put question in big capital letters so that we can find it.
Yes.
All right, go for it, John.
The very first question that we had posted in the thread was, what would each of your characters' superlatives be in high school? Which this was a very fun question. I also appreciate Gilly's question in chat right now. We'll get to that one.
Yeah, put your questions in chat. Or thinly veiled threats. That's fine too.
Yeah, both are great.
That's fine too.
Oh, but yeah, what would each of your characters' superlatives be? Is this like the nerdiest,
And like the most likely to,
yeah.
the
yeah.
most likelies, and like the okay.
Like in the yearbook,
Okay.
what would you be voted in?
Oh.
I think Kit was not a senior, so she shouldn't have to do this. But I think that she is most likely to be late to class.
Yep.
Yep.
I see it. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah. That's a
Oh.
good one. I don't know. I think Frankie's would be most likely to have what you're looking for in his backpack for some weird reason. in shorter words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. Right.
Weirdly, I think Casey's might be most likely to become an influencer, because everyone would probably be like, "Oh my god, your D&D games are so cool! You should stream those." Like, or something like that. Like, I feel like, or like, I feel like they would probably make like TikToks out of D&D moments or something like that. I think that's something that they'd be
Absolutely,
into.
Most likely to move to California and become a D&D star.
Most likely to move to California and become a D&D influencer.
I think Gabby probably would have been too quiet to even like make it onto a superlative list. To be honest.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? Because to be on the superlatives list, you need to have established some sort of presence, some sort of persona in the first place. Gabby, outside of this circle of friends, is quiet and extremely introverted and does not interact as much. Maybe if I could think of something like most likely to show up on like an episode of Cops or something. I don't know. Well, like your local news for something weird.
Well, what if like in the D&D club we had our own? What do you think Gabby would have been voted as within the friend group?
That's a good
That's
one.
good.
I think that's
a
up to
good
the
sub-question.
friends.
Also, I think this is also just keep in mind it doesn't also have to be most likely to like these are superlatives, which means they can be phrased as like best or most
Class
or
clown
things like
or
that.
like
things like that. So like
Yeah.
Would Gabby
Best
have been
artist.
in the? I was gonna say, would Gabby have been in the art club? Because I feel like Gabby was that kid that, like, you know, when you've got like, you know, your backpack and you're walking out of school and you walk past the art room and you see like a couple of the art kids like sitting in there that are always just like chilling after school until they get picked up or until like the late bus comes.
Gabby did not make eye contact much. So going to art club would definitely have been the thing. Art club and obviously D&D. Oh, those are some cat ears.
Hi, Ash.
I'm trying so hard to concentrate, but it's
The
very
way they just rose up.
that was just the perfectly framed Breeze camera.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
we're
like,
done.
oh, I like Bree's new like frame. Like
Yeah.
it's very cute.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the stream. We're not going to beat that. That's
Ash is
it.
Ash is the best cat, and she also knows how to be an influencer.
Oh yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
I don't
But yeah,
know.
art club,
Yeah.
most artistic, maybe like
Most artistic. I can see that.
I think most artistic, because like even like there are a fair amount of things that like the yearbook club are like weirdly very observant. All of them, like
Yeah.
sometimes like it's wild the way that you like I don't know anybody. I have no friends, and then you'll like wind up on a most something, and you're like, wait a minute, how did you know? I don't know any of you.
What did
you see?
So I'm gonna give my own superlative for Gabby here, which is not in the yearbook because it's sort of like from the other side of the fourth wall, right? Which is most likely to have her picture show up in the yearbook, having like no idea that it was going to happen. Like genuinely, I feel like Gabby would like be looking through the yearbook, like yeah, whatever, and be looking like that's me. I didn't even see a camera. What the fuck is happening?
Were they following me?
It's just like a very well framed picture that somebody snapped. That's like there's like half a student like for the foreground, like half a student like with the locker right next to the door open to the art room, and then you can see like there's a still life or something set up in there, and Gabby's just like bent over the table, like beanie on.
Can this be like blurry cryptid photography?
It's just like a weirdly like perfectly framed like candid that was just taken sort of in passing, you know.
I like it.
Yeah. The end of the year when the teacher, I mean, I suppose they don't really have to do this anymore because everyone's phones have better, like extremely good cameras in them now. But like dating myself from when I was in high school, like when the teacher at the end of the year would hand out like a few nice cameras to all of the yearbook club students and be like, these are so expensive, do not break these.
Yep.
Yep.
You feel that power, right? I can only imagine the kids who had those felt empowered in some way, like this is an amazing gift. No one
I feel
is
like if we'd
made for
had a
me.
normal senior year, Gabby would have joined the yearbook. Like,
Yeah.
I could see it.
Possibly. I mean, maybe. Well,
to get out of class.
with
so
the
you can go take
exception of
photos of things.
zombies, I would say maybe there's.
No, that's what I'm
some time.
saying. Like the next year in the
Right,
AU, where like we had a normal senior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gabby would have a blast
This
with one of
would
those
happen.
cameras. You'd get some weird stuff.
It would be like
Oh, I like it.
it was like the leader of yearbook would be like, okay, Gabby, I admire your creativity, but like these are unusable. Like we cannot use these.
It's art.
It's art.
The Iron Giant meme. Art.
Incredible. Oh god. Brie, what about Maisel?
With the Mabels.
I've been thinking about it, and I think it's
Thanks,
like
Billy.
that Frankie's is like always has what you need, and like Basil's is like will always like be there to give like will like I can't think of a phrasing, but it's like
I
you
feel
can all like will always like can go to Basil basically.
in that
like go
weird
to Basil,
like
yeah.
I feel like in that weird like that weirdly like cloyingly like sweet and awful kind of cliche language that superlatives use, it would be something like best shoulder to cry on or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
like,
something
Yeah.
like
Oh
that.
my god.
and everybody would just like
That's
roll their
not-
eyes at it and just, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to not think of something to like be awful, but like something like it's like best like person like the person you
Best
go
listener.
to if you have no one else to talk to, or like
Oh.
Friendliest
listener,
ear.
Will.
I don't know.
friendliest ear will drive you home after school, no questions asked. Like
Yeah, I do love that superlative. Just like it's not even a superlative, it's just like it's Maisel's picture and most likely to drive you home after school, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. That's a good one.
I
yeah.
can see that.
I do like kindest ear as like the more like great thing, but like most like if it's like our friend group, it's like most likely to drive you home after school, no questions asked. Ash, come on.
Ash is a star.
Ash, I'm working
She's a
here, okay?
you can't like how dare you stifle her creativity like this?
It's art.
Like literally
It's art.
right before we went live, she was right there, just taking a nap. And then the minute we went live, she's like, "On to the desk I go."
Ash has learned from your streams, Bree, that when the camera is on and Bree starts talking, that is prime time for scritches. Because that's how attention happens, right? Like that's when Ash gets attention.
I feel like animals have an innate sense for that, though. Because I had, for those of you who didn't see pre-stream, obviously, I had a cat in my lap and a dog on either side. And everyone was chill. They were relaxing. They were snoozing. It was all good. And then we went live and started talking. And then all of a sudden, it's time to wrestle on Mom.
Yep. Well, like, honest to God, though, like, Bree, you give her kitty scritches every single time somebody raids in, and oftentimes there will be periods of quiet where you're just kind of drawing and occasionally replying to somebody in chat, and then like somebody raids in, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hello!" And, like you're very on, and you've got like your announcements, and hey, here's going, how's the stream? And like, hey, this is my cat Ash, free kitty scritches while I catch fun chat and say hello to everybody.
Conditioning.
The more stories people tell me about their pets, the more I become convinced that pets are training us. Like,
could be
100%.
Yeah.
I trained her to be an internet sensation.
Internet sensation. Ash and Poodle the Daden.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Gilly has two questions. One was, how can we get scritches for the kitty? Which is, we ask Bree very nicely to do it. There's no redeem on this channel. The other question is, what is wrong with all of you?
We don't have enough airtime for that. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Gilly. Like,
sorry, that's an NDA.
That's it's a really good segue
Answer.
question for the elephant in the room.
Yes is the answer.
That's a question.
Yes.
The answer to which will stay between me and my inner demons at 3:00 in the morning.
Hey, 3 a.m. is not too far from me, y'all.
That's
true.
That's a conversation for me and my
Demons
sleep
are coming out.
Okay, I know we have like a whole bunch of other questions, but before we get to those questions, I do want to say, I want to ask here on the stream, how did you guys feel that went? Like, how did you guys feel? Like, what did you think about, like, as far as like the show as a whole? Like,
More.
More. Yes, more. I think
yes.
Yeah, like we like immediately got off call because I think Lucas or somebody had to go, and then I think it was Alison, Scriv, and I just stayed on call for a while and just talked about all the possible things that we could do next.
Amazing.
We have so many ideas.
oh,
Was it the first episode?
No, that was
No,
the last.
No, after the finale. I think everybody left, and then like one of you guys was still on, so I jumped back on, and then another one of you jumped back on.
Yeah, Scriv was still there, and so Alison jumped back on, and then I came back from the bathroom and I saw them still talking. I was like, well, I'll just keep talking because I have nothing better to do.
And then we just
had
did our little
something
like
I had to do.
aftercare session because it was a very traumatic experience. So
You need that in a tabletop game. People don't. Sometimes people who don't play it as often, or maybe I don't know. If you don't have those kind of experiences in your game, it's easy to underestimate how impactful they can be and how emotional they can be. So that player aftercare and character IC aftercare is very helpful.
Yeah, it's definitely.
No, and to be honest, like, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that's definitely one of those things that like normally I try to like include, but just that particular day, like the way things lined up with recording and like the way that when we had to have it done, I had to just like go. But like actually, I think it's funny because that kind of thing, like that in character and out of character aftercare, I think Scriv is one of the first like streamed conversations that you and I ever had on your channel. We were doing a creation.
I think it was.
Yeah,
what?
we were specifically
Throwback.
talking about that.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying, Alison?
Oh, I was just like, it's really important, like, when you get that into it, too, because, like, you guys all saw, I was, like, bawling my eyes out, like, in character, and, like, in order to get there, you have to put yourself in the emotion, at least for me personally, like, I have to put myself in it. So I don't know, like, I was fine, it it was nice to not be alone after and talk for a little bit, and I appreciate you guys.
It was really good. I'm glad that we got to talk about it because not only did we like come down from it, but we also were like, that was so much fun. That put so much of our emotions on the table in a very fun way. That we knew it because it's the important thing for this type of game. When you're playing D&D and you don't know if your character is going to die or something terrible is going to happen or not. For this game, we were all every episode prepared for something terrible to happen because we knew that was what the genre was. So it was still impactful, but it felt more like a story, the story aspect, than something terrible happening to me personally. And I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going into it with the knowledge that this is a tragedy that we are telling. Weirdly, it does help you, I think, separate a little bit from it. Where I know I am playing a character who is in this and wants this to work out, but I, Jonathan, know that we're not getting out of this unscathed, right?
It's a
which
really
also
weird and interesting case. Sorry, it's just what you just said was interesting. Because it's a weird and interesting case where because when you're role playing, I'm saying this because look at this, we're back, baby. Matt Colville reference. Here we go. I was listening to a Matt Colville video where he's talking about role playing just yesterday, and when you're the players and the character's goals are different, that's role playing, right? That's what role playing is basically at its core. But this is a really interesting case where the player's goals and the character's goals were different but equally relevant to the show. Each of them and so I think that's because usually you're trying to take the player's goals and sort of separate them out and kind of set them aside. But this is a case where the player's goals were to create the story that the narrative beats that would befit the genre, whereas the characters, because the characters, their goals were to survive because they are not aware that they are characters in a story. They're So I think that's really an interesting thing. But yeah,
I think the way you prefaced it helped. The way we did our session zeros and the way that you also wove in those flashbacks, I think really continued to help drive that narrative and drive that almost distinction, because we all knew the theme. As soon as you bring zombies into something, it's gonna be intense, right? But the way you presented it, even with that in mind, the way you presented it still, I know for me, kept me on the edge of my seat every session. Even and we referenced zombie video games and different types of media as we went along, so we all kind of know what those different tropes are. But honestly, you did such a good job. You are such a good GM, and thank you.
thank you, Scriv.
Because it made it very, very enjoyable and still immersive. I think.
Yeah. No, and I think one of the things that was super helpful this whole time, while doing it, was having a group of people that very clearly understood and could get behind what we were trying to do and accomplish story wise, and and then basically just having a whole cast of people who did everything in their power to move us closer to that narrative goal. At every moment. Y'all were constantly pushing the ball forward, to the point where I felt I didn't have to do anything. I just let you guys go, and I was all right, throw in a little thing here, a little twist there, just drizzle a little narrative tension over here,
a little
little splash,
little narrative tension,
It was very fun because out of game, Bree and I, the glee that Bree and I had with yes, we haven't yet explored the character dynamic of these two have issues to work out. And we were very excited for those two to be pissed at each other for about an episode and a half.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
I loved all of your guys' interactions. They were so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Oh god, I rarely play characters that have emotional stakes because because if I don't know when the end is going to be, I can't have a character that has emotional stakes without just burning myself out. So I always have to play the character that like is kind of like, oh well, either like I know I sort of know the secrets of the universe, or like I just don't care, because like that it's so much easier, and you build emotional stakes along with other characters. But to come in with baggage was super interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like kudos, I think, to Kids on Bikes as a system. Because the character creation for this game is great in that it's a much less like noodly simulationist game. So like moment to moment, there are fewer things to like jump off of between like game mechanics that you're interacting with and roles that are happening. And so like when you create your character with the group, one of the things that you do is you ask a question left and ask a question right. And those help like build some like they're almost always tension. I think we had like a list of positive questions that we asked and a list of like kind of the negative questions that we asked. And that did a lot to drive that kind of like intra character relationships where like you kind of had little groups of people who knew each other and had relationships with each other in different ways. How like
Alison, you want to talk about that?
Nope, I'm good. No, okay, so here's the thing.
Keep going.
No, I just need to comment that I was absent for like all of that, and you guys rolled for me, and I came back and Lucas told me like what I got, and I was like, let's go, I hit the jackpot, this is gonna be great. Like
well, like it's so funny because like the one I remember, like the question that Freeman got that for Frankie for Kit was one that was like when like it was like I don't remember how it was phrased. It was like, when did you first realize you were in love with this character, right?
Yep.
Like it was something like that. We're like, and it was like you can decide whether this is platonic or not. And then like I remember you guys talking about it afterwards, and like when you did get there, Alison, we're like, okay, well we'll just feel out the vibe of the characters and see which way we wanted to go.
Yeah.
And, but like, man, what a like immediate, just like that was a question that immediately chose violence and like.
Yep. In a zombie apocalypse, yeah.
And set the tone for the entire thing.
Yeah, it truly did. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was the slowest of burns because we were all present for that moment. But I think most of us like fully forgot it until the end, and we're like, "Fuck right, shit."
Well, like I had taken
that hurts so much worse.
I had taken notes about everybody's stuff, and I remembered pretty well the characters that I was directly related to. But when I went to Gen Con, I brought my notebook along with me, and I just like a week ago found that notebook again, like rammed deep in my trunk underneath a box, and that had all of my session 0 notes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was very much fresh to me because like we did the session 0 as y'all started recording, and while I was at a convention, and then I came back and jumped in, and I was like, yes, I remember my direct relationships, but I didn't have my notes about like everybody else.
One of the things on a related note, and I'll say this last thing and then we'll get to some of the questions, but like one of the things that I remember saying right after our session 0, I remember saying that from a narrative perspective, every single one of these characters had equal claim to being the one who died at the end.
Yep.
From a narrative perspective, like
it could have been anyone.
Yeah, it really could have been anyone. Like each one of them had something that in their backstory, in their like personality, their character personality or their backstory or something would have made them a pretty poignant character to have been the one who died at the end. And like, which is one of the things that made it so easy to sort of like blindside people with it at the end, but in a way that didn't feel like it came out of nowhere, right? Because each character had equal claim to being that tragic, heroic character at the end. And we even like red herringed it a little bit with Scriv, and then like came back and then did exactly the same thing in exactly the same way with a different character. Like
that's just brutal. That's an emotional roller coaster.
In a weird way, Scriv, like that. Yours was your exit that what was that, like episode 3? Your exit there was like a weirdly foreshadowing of the end, which I thought was so cool. Like, and it came out of something that was entirely not in our control, which was your absence. You just like we just weren't going to be there that time. We knew it ahead of time, and so we're like, okay, let's find a way of narratively making this work for us, and it did, but in ways that like we didn't even anticipate until like the end, and it was just so cool.
I just want to go back to like the knowing part of it, because knowing that John wasn't going to be there for the first 2 sessions and knowing that Scriv wasn't going to be there for episode 4, like as players, like knew all of these things and knew why the real world reasons were for them, and that we would obviously find Casey eventually, and we knew that Gabby was going to be gone. So us as players were like, okay, when are these things happening? At what time? All these things, but our characters, we had to be like, our characters know nothing, and what can we do to make this as tragic as possible, even though as we know that it's coming up. And
top-notch acting from everyone.
Yeah, it like it was very fun to me, like, because I was gone for those first 2 episodes, like to come in and to all of you have like had your own like variations of like, God damn it, Casey.
God damn it. We're mad at you.
I'm still dying over that sketch. The hot coffee.
The Casey drowning in a cup of boiling coffee, like, yeah.
Oh god.
We'll tweet that out at some point, y'all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, the fact that Alison was not there for character creation in the very beginning, and then Kit was the one that died, is just weirdly like interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, huh. Okay.
Moral of the story: don't miss your character creation, folks. You might die.
That's right. You don't show up for session 0.
Fucking
You're gone.
Oh my god. Let's get to some of our
I had
questions.
an appointment, okay?
No, you did, and a very important one.
A very important.
And I was on the Discord call while I was driving to it and from it.
You
You're
were.
fine. I'm just
No, you're good.
Out of narrative metaphor that I find interesting.
I hadn't even thought about it that way, actually. That's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to some of our questions, because we have quite a few of them.
Ooh, lots.
Yeah, we do.
This is
Cole gave us a lot.
Yeah.
This is a tragic one, but it says, what are the
I made a
chances the
point not
kid
to
is
read them.
immune?
Oh.
Yeah.
I have a more topical one after that one.
I mean, there's a chance, right?
I need some ointment.
Gotta go Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Lucas is poker
That's
face
fair.
right now.
That is
say that-
fully
I rolled
up
the
to-
dice.
Yeah, that's fully up to Lucas and what he decides to hurt other people with eventually, if we ever play again.
Also, welcome, Amethyst Cat Lady. Hello.
No.
Hello.
I'm glad you and the pupper have successfully dodged the fireworks.
Oh.
What have we got next, John? Because I'm not answering that question.
No, I figured. I just wanted to throw that one.
Damn.
I know Cole asked that question knowing full well I was gonna just dance around it, fully ignore it.
Yeah.
Cole asked that question
also-
just to irritate me. Like,
That's
Did
why
it
I
work
read it.
though?
what? No, it didn't.
Sorry, Cole.
All right, this is a question that I actually really super love because I played the character that was everybody's DM in our D&D game. But what was everyone's D&D character?
Yeah, because I think there was some mentions of this, but we never actually like went around and like talked about it on.
We talked about classes, but
We
I don't
talked about
think we
it-
had actual character names.
We talked about it off.
We talked about it offline.
Offline, not in the actual. I think there might have been a mention or two in the show, but like, I don't know if we talked about it. So let's, that's why I like this question, because I think this is a good opportunity for that.
I think I can go first while everybody
Yes,
thinks
you
because
had a
Casey
clear,
absolutely. Yeah, Casey absolutely has a like a DM NPC that tags along with the party. so that they can deliver exposition or prod things in the right direction as necessary. And first of all, like paladins are like they have a lot of like reasoning for why paladin is such a good like DMPC like choice in terms of like being really like characters with strong moral convictions and they're like that kind of stuff, and so they make a good kind of like make spur of the moment decisions when the party is stuck. But the reason is really that they just super like paladins. They just really like paladins, and I think they probably play like either an Oath of Vengeance or an Oath of Devotion paladin. I think probably leaning to like Oath of Devotion paladin. And they probably pull that character out for it's their transplant character for any one shot that somebody else runs. There's like whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, Frankie was a ranger.
That tracks.
I think Frankie's D&D character was a ranger who favored terrain, favored enemy, always has like a way to like track through the wilderness. I think maybe Frankie is like a version of me in high school. If me in high school had done more of the things I did out in the woods later on in life.
It's basically just Freeman taking the like a piece of paper that has me, Freeman now, and Freeman in high school, and just folding it over on top of each other. That's Frankie.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that seems right.
It's a good approach.
That's seen in every like sci-fi.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't really flesh out that character too much. I just thought, it's gonna be a ranger. I think probably like an elf or half elf or a variant human. Yeah.
Well, like, given everything that we know about Frankie, I think that ranger is like a class that he would be like fully attracted to. Like, I think that's a class that Frankie would be like, this appeals to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it probably like multi-class into fighter, I think, later on.
I could see it.
That's pretty good.
Casey and Frankie watched The Two Towers together, and like all of the scenes of Legolas going from bow to fighting with two swords just had a profound impact on Frankie. Like,
running through the plains of Rohan.
Yep. All right. Who else?
I can go. Gabby definitely played a barbarian. And I have decided just now that barbarian's name was Lola, the half-orc.
Yes. Oh my
god.
I love her.
Good.
Probably eventually multi-classed into either bard or rogue. I can't quite decide which one. I think that was probably the ongoing plan. Depending on what would piss off that paladin the most.
What would delight Casey the most and make their character just the most irritable?
Yeah. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
It's like a running conversation where like they just keep flipping between different multi-classes.
Poking and prodding, trying to figure out what it's gonna be.
Yeah, like the class. Like okay. So I was on DM Academy like last night, looking at some like cool multi-classing options again, and like I just want to run this by you.
Oh my god.
Yes, canon.
I think Maisel would probably be a bard. I remember when we talked about it, we're like either bard or cleric, and I don't know which, but I think bard was my first instinct, so I'll go with that. I think Maisel would be a bard, and probably just go basic College of Lore bard, and try to like go into like try to bring in a little bit of like the dance stuff into like their spell casting and things like that. And
that would be amazing.
Probably like an air genasi or something like that.
College of Glamour bard coming in here. Like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have to point out Clone here says I ship Lola and the DMPC.
was about to say retweet in the chat.
Incredible.
Perfect.
I can hold on.
If it's
I can
a College of Glamour
that.
bard, that's an air
I
genasi.
pinned it.
Rivals, two lovers. Enemies, and then best friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the character arc.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
They
feel
both-
like I've played a College of Glamour bard that was an air genasi before. I definitely didn't do that.
No, preposterous. Who could accuse
I
you of doing
believe
such
that.
a thing, Bree?
Well, we talked about what Kit's character was when we were deciding like Kit and Casey's relationship.
My favorite.
So Kit fully joined because Frankie dragged her there. She did not intend to actually fully like incorporate herself into this group. But she made a druid because it sounded fun and did not realize it was like one of the most complicated classes you can possibly play as a new player. Says me, whose first character was a druid. Anyways, yeah, no, she fully
And who's
played a druid.
every subsequent character has been a druid as well.
Thank you very much. I do play clerics on occasion. I'm just a wisdom caster main. Thank you.
Caster, best
Okay.
caster.
Literally, I'm just saying, every time Allison and I played in the game together, and Allison's making a character for it, Allison's like, maybe I'll play a druid. It's like, okay. Anyway, continue.
Help me out.
Druids are amazing.
But-
I'm on your side, Allison. I love
Well, the thing is,
There's so
I
many different ways you could play a druid as well.
I am a druid
Like, no,
main
I
who
support
hates
this.
wild shape. Like out above table, I never wild shape. Right? Okay, I like use wild shape abilities for like other subclasses, or like I love the new wild companion feature. It's great. Kit was probably Circle of the Moon because she only wild shaped, specifically to annoy Casey so she wouldn't have to do stuff in roleplay. Like, I don't know why you're talking to me. I'm a cat right now.
Yeah.
Also, her
Casey's-
character's name was Fern.
Good.
Can
Yeah,
we
Casey-
have
Good.
a one shot of this, of our characters playing
It has
Listen.
been requested. We have talked about it. It has been requested by many people. My parents want it, so like.
Oh my god. We can't
Yeah.
disappoint your parents!
My parents have told me that would be fun for them.
Maybe like a charity one shot or something. That'd be a fun
Yeah.
like charity stream.
I'd be
Yeah,
down.
absolutely.
That is, I
would
believe,
be-
the specific context in which it's been discussed. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would adore doing
And of course-
a
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I would adore doing a charity stream where I, Jonathan, am running the game as Casey, who is running a game for his friends who are playing D&D characters.
Really want to up the chaos? I will run the game in which John is playing Casey, who is running the D&D game.
That doesn't
I was just thinking that, like, we could really get super meta where, like, you're running a Kids on Bikes game for us while I'm running D&D for all of you.
I love this.
We have to have two different character sheets open at the same time.
Oh my god.
This just smacks of that time when over on Geek and Sundry, when Eric Campbell had a crossover between like Shield of Tomorrow and
Yes.
the TBD RPG,
Eric's-
and was like
yeah,
simultaneously running. For some players was using Star Trek Adventures, and for the rest of the players was using the Doctor Who RPG rules, and like
Wow.
it was.
That's cool.
Oh wow.
Confirmed. There it is.
Hi, Corey.
Oh my
Wow.
god. I did read that right. That's amazing. Hello.
Oh my god.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
I think you'll break something by that. I mean, all of your brains. Yeah, but it would be
Probably.
very, very silly and
What?
fun.
I think we have a capable group who can handle having two character sheets at once.
I
So
think we can.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we can figure it out.
But-
It'll devolve into a chaos, but it'll be controlled chaos.
But
It'll be
hear me out.
beautiful chaos.
Hear me out. A scenario where I am not running any game.
That's also true. You could.
I want that for you. I would like you to be playing like the freshman in D&D club, and that's all. That's
Look,
all.
I'm
Oh
pretty
my
sure-
god.
I'm pretty
You're
sure
the newbie.
we mentioned Kyle at some point. Okay, so like
Mhm.
I will
Yeah.
play Kyle.
Yeah,
yes,
I will play Kyle.
I will be Kyle,
Frickin' Kyle.
playing
Yep.
a D&D character. I don't know what character, but it will be. I'll be. Oh, God, am I just gonna play another fighter again?
I honestly, I was like, I'm pretty sure that Casey would have been like, listen, Kyle, you're new to D&D, so let's start you off with something pretty straightforward. Like,
Fighter.
how about a fighter?
Yep.
I mean, monk is easier than fighter, but
You could go monk.
Unless you're playing a Kensei monk, in which case it's
don't
harder
do
than
that,
everything.
yeah.
In case it's
Yeah.
harder than every class.
What's Kensei Monk's deal again?
It's just the weapon expert, but like at every time you can choose to add certain things. Like there's so many dials that you can turn on how much damage or how much your attack is. It's so much. Henry ran a Kensei monk in our Tomb of Annihilation game a few years ago, and he's like, I don't think I'm going to do that again. He's like, I love that
Sounds like
character.
the melee mundane equivalent of what the wizard class kind of
Oh
represents.
God.
That sounds complicated.
Listen, I know that I called out Alison, so it's only fair, but I'm being attacked in chat right now. I'm being called out, and
Eldritch Knight, I'm predicting it.
Oh, Jesus. Yep.
Oh my
I will have you know
God.
I've played a grand total of 3 Eldritch Knights ever in the entirety of D&D. So like,
it's your vibe.
That's cool.
3 druids, okay?
I played bard or druid. That's it.
fair enough.
Was it a goblin rune knight that you played?
Yes, it was. Goblin.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
okay. It was really cool.
Oh,
I
was a furbolg that most of the time was taller than the rune knight, and then all of a sudden the rune knight was taller than me.
The fiction of being a small creature that could become a large creature at various points is extremely funny to me. So that's all I'm saying. Being a goblin, all of a sudden he's a like 12 to 15 foot tall goblin. I'm just anyway.
can Kyle be a goblin in this charity?
I think Kyle has to be a goblin.
Yes.
I think Kyle has to be playing a goblin.
I think we have other questions to get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is the only one that matters.
Listen, this is like I think for any like cast Q&A, this is an evergreen question. Like asking the cast what is your even if D&D wasn't explicitly part of the game, asking the cast what is your character's D&D character is a fun question, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's Ooh, this one's fun. What was something you thought about your character sheet that didn't make it onto stream, or what something that you put on what was something on your character sheet that didn't really make it to stream,
or even something that you just thought about your character?
Yes, what was something that you thought about your character that didn't make it on the stream? Give me deeds.
Oh yeah.
You're too much in D&D head.
Yeah, I know. My brain saw the word deets and turned it into sheets.
I mean, there was a lot of things that we talked about. Well, not a lot of things. There was a lot of things that we talked about in the Session Zero that came out in the game either not at all or very subtly. Like, for most of the time, like, because we had questions for 2 people in the group. And for most of us, we only really focused on the relationship with one. Just because that's easy to do in a shorter time, but we always we had other relationship and factors with other characters that I could tell when some of us was acting on that secondary thing, but it wasn't as big or as noticeable as some of the other the larger conflicts between Maisel and Casey, between Frankie and Kit, between Gabby and Frankie and all those things. So there was some things that didn't come to light. And the one that I know for sure that didn't really get touched on for Maisel was that Maisel was had basically aspired to have the confidence of Gabby. Was a big part of Maisel's journey that didn't really get explicitly stated. Which was why Maisel kind of took Gabby's whole thing really hard. And made a very throwaway line to Casey when having that fight with Casey of if Cabby isn't here, someone has to speak their mind, and that's like really the only time it like ever came up.
That would.
See, I wasn't there when you got that. I didn't
Gabby
even know
cry.
that. I'm like,
Gabby would
Yep.
have, if Gabby ever learned that or learns that, it would baffle her. Because outside of this group, you don't see that. You don't see that side of Gabby as much, and that's something that she would want to try to amplify a little bit more. And it's funny because we, in that session 0 where you roll and you have like some sort of connection to the other characters, Gabby had one for Maisel as well. But it's because I knew you cheated on that test. And we didn't get to use it, so I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for this D&D game.
Yes, yeah, we
Like,
yeah,
oh, are you sure you rolled a nat 20? Are you sure?
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Ooh.
It was one time. Fucking god.
Oh my god.
What was the character's name who had the test answers? Did he have a name?
Maybe, yes.
Kyle.
It was Kyle.
Just
Kyle.
assume they're
Kyle
all
is-
Kyle.
It's all
Kyle is too pure for that. Like,
No,
Oh,
I don't remember.
Kyle
that
just got mixed up with the
character.
wrong crowd. Maybe it was one of those ROTC nerds, you know.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't remember if we gave him a name or something. I'm
I
sure
think
we
he
did.
do- he
Go
but
back and check the
I don't
video.
remember that character's name. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately.
yeah. Because
Oh,
me and Gabby had a thing, but we didn't really get into it other than like you could kind of see that like Maisel was like very broken up about Gabby leaving and like very like happy about like what Gabby did and was like had like a thing with Gabby like when Casey was gone of like kind of like a like slightly closer relationship, and that's really oh my god.
I will admit, so because of the time difference, I have not been able to catch the airing of the YouTube videos live, but I go back and watch them. And sometimes I make the mistake of watching it while I'm at work. And I teared up. I had to excuse myself for just, you know, a little bathroom break, a little coffee break, watching that episode, because you guys got me. I love you guys. Everyone was so good. Anyway, just wanted to reveal that.
Wait,
still-
which episode was that you were talking about just now?
That was what was it, episode 4? No,
So-
episode 3. It was after. It was
Yeah.
the one after I.
After you left.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the
Gotcha.
car scene.
Yep. Yep.
You guys warned me too. They said, "Rev, you're gonna cry." I said, "What? No, I'll be fine."
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not prepared to hear back my own voice at the end of episode 3. When Casey
Yeah.
told Maisel to drive, I knew what I had done. Like, I knew it was coming, and that made it so much worse.
Casey's voice crack for president. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
Casey's
God.
Casey's voice crack for president.
Mhm.
That it fucked me up to do it, and then it fucked me up again when I heard it. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I like that when you're sad, you get high. Your voice gets higher. When I get sad, my voice gets lower. So the vocal range just like slipped.
You just sort of more sort of even out your vocals.
Yeah.
Your vocal stuff.
We equalize, like Bree. You sit kind of in the lower part of your voice, and so you sink down about to where it's comfortable for me when I push my voice up just a little bit higher. Like,
Oh,
Yeah. What else? What else didn't come to light?
I feel like Kit and Casey were like we had a relationship and like we talked about it a lot above table, but I feel like it didn't get shown as much in the show. Like,
yeah, there was kind of more. I think like there were just we didn't really with 5 episodes. There's a limited amount of screen time to explore like with each of the characters. And so, like, you know, like Bree said, a lot of us were kind of focused on our like primary relationship like questions, the ones that were like most like imminent or pressing or interesting that we kind of fleshed out in those early sessions. And like I think like the relationship like between Kit and Casey was one where like they very much did like each other, but in the we irritate each other kind of way. And like one of the things that we had down, like that I had down here for Kit and Casey was the bravest thing that Kit has seen Casey do was stand up, was like and take a hit for a freshman who was getting picked on. Like in a very like the freshman was getting picked on, and so Casey just like made an oddball out of themselves to so that the kid could get away. And then just kind of like shrugged it off like it was like it was nothing, like whether or not it was to them. But and I think we didn't get to explore like much of that.
See, but I think that's also why like when we got you back, that's why like Kit's immediate reaction was just to punch Casey. Because like it was that level of familiarity of like, okay, thank God you're okay. Like she asked if Casey was okay and then immediately was like, okay, you're okay, cool. You're about to not be. Like,
God damn it, you idiot.
Because it was that level of like comfort.
I also feel like we got a little bit of that in like the gas station scene though, like right before.
Yeah. Look at the tiny little bottles of what kind of booze was that again?
Fireball.
It was Fireball. That was so
wasn't
good.
It like the Malibu coconut though? Wasn't like
Casey had the Malibu coconut. Yeah. I think Kit had Fireball, and Casey was just like gross.
Yeah, so there was we got like a little hint of it, but like it didn't. I think it sort of it didn't really get at the like the core of what you guys talked about your characters' relationships being. But like we kind of got a little hint of it there, I think. Yeah,
that like ultimately like very friendly towards each other, but like a little bit like playfully antagonistic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Also,
Go ahead.
Oh, you might be about to say the same thing that I was going to say, because I'm going to say the thing about the phones.
Go ahead.
Okay, I am just going to say, I'm going to answer this once and for all, because we all know this. Not only did Frankie have the flip phone when he was younger, he still has it now, and it is in fact a track phone. That's all I'm saying. That's the answer to this question.
I can see the exact track phone that it is.
Yeah.
It's not like the one that was like a Razor clone. It's the one that was like narrower and really chunky and like rectangular.
It has like an antenna you can pull out still.
Yes, the retractable antenna.
Yeah.
Yep. I do love it.
Mainly because that's just Freeman in real life.
Yeah. Well, no. At least now my it's still a track phone, but at least now it's kind of like it's kind of smart.
All right.
Smartphone-ish.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's
the
not.
only thing that makes it smart is the little pop socket in the back. That's a Totoro, but.
Oh, it's Totoro.
Oh. I love that. I always forget that you have that.
Getting a flip phone again, though. I swear.
Sorry, Alison, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I was actually on the opposite end of that question. I was pleasantly surprised with Kit and Gabby's relationship, because like we didn't have anything defined at all, and like from the first episode we immediately had like banter, and I really appreciated that. It was a lot of fun.
It was very fun. You both like intimidate and fascinate Gabby because you just seem so cool. You're that kind of aloof, cool kid in town. We're just freaking playing with a knife. And it was like that scene of, if we're going back to Lord of the Rings, like Aragorn just sitting there in the pub just watching and just waiting. Yep. And you know they're a badass, but they're being really quiet about it.
Something just so cool about like the all powerful DM being like, so what are you up to, like, or trying to talk to Kit in character, and having Kit just be like, I'm a cat.
That was one of the first things I decided about her, was that she just did not give a shit about the D&D club, but like she cared about the people, but like she was only there for
So when Gabby does doodles of all the D&D characters and like different things in her notebook, most of the time it's the cat form.
I want a cat with a dagger in its mouth. Thank you.
Oh, done.
Yeah.
I love that
Just-
so much.
Every single one, the cat with a dagger in its mouth is just passed out in a different place.
I feel like
But the dagger is always there.
the way that I imagine this scene playing out is like the kids are playing D&D, whatever, and like Gabby's doodling, and like at one point Kit like leans back and like looks at it, and then like Gabby notices and gets like really like awkward and whatever, and Kit's just like, I think the cat needs a dagger in its mouth. Like
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Canon.
Yeah, like I think I didn't like because we only had it with 2 people and there's
Hmm.
5 of us, so like I didn't have any. I didn't have anything with Frankie and I didn't have anything with Kit, and it just kind of like happened. But me and Alison, out of character, made a decision about our relationship based on your relationship with Casey, because I was mad at Casey, but you were on good terms with Casey, and I was mad about it. And that made Kit think that I hated Kit, and so anytime we had, oh god, it was like we didn't really get to like go into it really at all, except for like very small moments also. In the thing where like when we were in like the gas station when it was just the 2 of us, and then you left to go on the other side of the car, and me, Brie, I was like, I know what you're doing, but that hurts. What? Ow.
Too.
And so that was why, like, in the final episode, for me, it was so important to, like, at least tie a little bow on that thing with Kit. Because we didn't really get to touch on the, like, weird, like, animosity of Maisel really trying to bridge a gap with Kit, but Kit, like, not really responding and Maisel not really knowing what to do in that scenario. And, really, that was really important for, like, me to give Kit the car at the end and try to get you to come back.
It's fine.
I wanted
I really appreciated that conversation too. That was like really meaningful to me, and I know that focus was a lot on like the Kit and Frankie thing happening because obvious reasons. Yeah. But that was also very nice to have, and because of that conversation we'd had above table, it meant a lot. So.
I wanted to throw another thing in there in the vein that Alison was, which is something that was in there that sort of was surprising, which was I think Scriv pointed this out and it reminded me of it, but it was like the pocket knife. I think was so, because like it was like I think I always love like Alison and I talking like off screen talking about it, how like it was just sort of like I think, Alison, you were telling me that it was just, like, something that you were just, like, you weren't intending it to be anything, just like, oh, you just have a knife. And then, like, the way that Gabby reacted about it, it was, like, an iconic thing to Kit or whatever.
Yeah,
and
it became a thing.
It became a thing, yeah. It turned into... and then you just kind of leaned into it and then, like, slipped it into Frankie's pocket at the end. Like, that
was so good.
Well, I seriously thought about, like, should I give it to Gabby because Gabby made such a big deal about it, but, like, all of my closer moments with anybody before that, like, once Kit knew that, like, she wasn't gonna make it, like, I don't know, Frankie was the person that was the most, like, meaningful to her, and, like, she had a lot of close moments with him. Like, we had that scene where they were hugging on the roof. She definitely, like, put it in his pocket, like, at that point. Yeah.
That was cute.
But if Frankie didn't get it, Gabby absolutely would have, because I think that also would have been a very cute narrative moment.
Yeah.
I'm happy with how it played out.
Yeah, me too.
Except for the dying part, you know.
Yeah. Like, it was a great story, but how could you?
Maybe.
There were a couple questions from the chat here, which is both from Gilly and both on the same in the same vein.
The heck, Gilly.
Gilly likes to ship people.
Yeah. Have any of the Adventure Kids kissed each other, or were they all too awkward and repressed for that? Which is a very funny way of phrasing this question. Thank you, Gilly.
That's an incredible way to phrase that.
Awkward and repressed, yes. Hi,
First of all, how dare you?
Gabby has never kissed anyone.
All right.
All right.
I think that Kit would have drunkenly made out with almost anybody except for Frankie.
No, I like that. Yeah.
That's good.
No, because that actually meant something to her, and that she wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that like Frankie probably had like some kind of kiss in like earlier days, probably like kindergarten, one of the kind that doesn't really like mean anything to anyone. They're just like, you know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I'm sure Maisel has kissed someone. I don't think Maisel's kissed anyone in the friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. I
Now that we've all said, you can't say it now. Now that we've all said, no, we haven't kissed anyone in the group. Then Casey comes out like, oh, we made out all over the place.
Yeah, we could have. I'm just saying. I already
I'm the last to
said.
go here.
Yeah, anyone could have
we've
kissed
answered
Kit.
for you.
I don't think Maisel would have kissed Kit. Maisel, it was too much of a like, oh, nope, okay, you're drunk. Let's get you some water.
Yeah, no, you drove me home when I tried.
Yeah, I think
No
like
questions
Casey.
asked.
I think Casey probably, frankly, has similar energy to that. It's just like, all right, well. Okay,
Oh yeah, so we definitely made out like drunk at a party one time, but like nothing there. It was just because.
Absolutely not. Like it was mostly just like bored and sort of drunk, and then probably just made out for a while.
I'm like, no, I'm good.
Both of them were just like, both of them were just afterward. I feel like it's like that was fun, but I don't want to do it again.
Like the specific way that I'm picturing it happening is like, so is this anything? And then there's just like a weird pause, and they like look at each other. They're just simultaneously like, no, absolutely not. No, just like.
I don't think it was even an awkward pause. I think Kit knew that it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
I don't mean like an awkward pause, like but more just sort of like a, how do I answer this question?
Oh shit! What if they were more into that than I was?
Right, like a. Like trying to gauge why the other person was asking, like, no, absolutely no, of course not,
Of course, no, of course not. Yeah.
No, I think Kit like just walks away, like, and goes to do something else at the party. Like, it's not.
It's like, oh, so it's like a thing where like it happens, and then they just sort of stop, and they're like, okay, see you later, and then this is like the end.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Yep.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Gilly, I think most of us have not crossed that line. Kit will.
I think that may have been a little bit of a habit almost at parties on occasion. So.
Yeah.
Not usually with actual friends, but yeah.
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 Gabby will have a whole bunch of doodles of the D&D characters smooching in that notebook.
Oh yeah.
Like Turning Red style. Mermaid versions.
I love that.
Mermaid versions, amazing.
But that's secret. None of you will see those pages.
It's in a different notebook. It's in a different notebook.
Yeah. There you go, Gilly. That one's for you.
I do remember we talked like briefly about like ship dynamics, but like we didn't really decide on anything early on. Like there were pretty much everything that played out organically, and I think we sort of like all of us knew that there was about room for one like romantic ship. I think in the time that we had, and so when it started to prove to be Kit and Frankie, the rest of us were just kind of like we took a step or two back. We're like, okay, yeah, you guys got that. So I remember Bree and I had talked like briefly about like whether or not like Casey and Maisel were like just like the inseparable childhood friends or like some other version of that, but like none of that really had much time to play out because they had something much bigger to resolve first.
More important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
And Gabby is just too awkward. Don't let people close enough to get that far.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the mind.
What are some of the other questions? Do we have other questions? I mean, I know we do, but
yeah. Gilly asked a question about Gabby and Kit. Gabby and Kit's relationship had banter and some amount of familiarity, but there also seemed to be some tension/apprehension in regards to getting closer to each other. What the fuck was up with that?
I forgot the Wiggles eyebrows part.
Okay, Wiggles eyebrows.
You're supposed to do it.
that was absolutely worth it. Thank you, Bree. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't do the thing. My eyebrows don't move in different ways.
I can get like both at the same time, but I cannot get the little.
Yeah.
I can only do the one. I can't do the other.
I'm thinking way too hard about it.
Yeah.
I just think that it was just an awkward because like Kit knew that Gabby was the only one that was going to be left with her. So it was just, like I don't think they were like these opposite ends of the friend group who didn't really talk to each other. And so I think like Kit was talking to her because like she was trying to be like I guess you're who I have now, you know. But like not in a
probably translated.
Yeah, but like Kit's entire thing for me was like keep everybody at arm's length, don't let anybody hurt you. So when all of a sudden she's like, oh, I guess I need a friend, like she was making a genuine effort. It's just really hard for her.
And from Gabby's standpoint, that fear of being left behind is strong. So valuing friendships with each of these wonderful people very, very strongly. But also could sense you preferring to keep, or Kit preferring to keep people at arm's length and wanting to respect that as well. Like, I want to be friends, but I guess take it easy and we'll... That's why
like
Gabby was also
two
very
really shy dogs to each other, and they like stay in opposite corners of.
You're not quite sure what to do. Eventually, maybe like a ball will roll across the field, and you're both like, "Am I gonna go for it? Is it yours? I don't know. I'm gonna go over here and like lay down.
Do what you do."
Yeah, I'm gonna sniff these flowers. They seem really interesting now.
They like I imagine this also like if almost like if senior year plays out normally, the zombie apocalypse doesn't happen, and like Frankie and Maisel and Casey all go off to college. Like I imagine almost kind of like a thing where like neither of them make like the overt active effort to spend a bunch of time together, but they like accidentally do it. Like, oh wow, how I just happened to be in the neighborhood. Do you want to study or something? Like, like
yeah,
see that.
No, absolutely.
And if any shit were to go down, the other would just magically somehow be there to back them up as well. It's like, hey, what's going on?
A lot of very quiet, like low-key hangouts where very little is said.
Yep. In the library, not saying a word.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm going through some of our other questions in here. Were there any moments you thought about later and wanted to make a change? What were they, if so?
There was not one moment, but many moments where I was like, I thought back later and I was like, man, it's really hard to play a kid, a teen. And I don't know, like, I was like, there was like moments I was role playing and I thought later, would I have thought that if I were, when I was 17 or 18, would I have said those things out loud? And then I continued to think, and I was like, I don't know actually, because I can't actually imagine a high school student going through a zombie apocalypse. So I don't know. Maybe you get wise or something. I don't know. But I did think later, like kind of thinking about that, how I could have probably done the teen thing a little better. But then again, how do I know what a teen would be, in that scenario? Basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And I think that's an interesting point because, like, I think playing in that scenario, it helps to bridge the gap, really, between, like, us being, like, adults and trying to play children, basically, and like it allows a little bit of leeway in the suspension of disbelief, really, because you're like, yeah, you don't know how kids would act probably in that situation, like, you know. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, and yeah.
Yeah, and especially like in an improvisational medium, it's hard to get to pin down that specific kind of like what would a teenager do in this situation. It's a combination of like youthful inexperience that you don't have that anymore because we've all lived as long as we have, and then that feeling of youthful invulnerability. And I think that is maybe easier to get at, but you have to balance it out with other things too. And so I think it makes it an interesting challenge to do that. But putting them in an apocalyptic situation means everybody kind of has to grow up a little bit,
Really
which
quickly. Yeah.
helps which helps us as adults role playing them.
I think my answer to this question, there's a couple of things that stand out in my mind. Number one is not giving Gabby, but in relation to the group, more screen time in that last episode. Like, granted, it was like a lot happening in that last episode, but like not giving more, like a little bit more time to sort of let that moment kind of sink in a little bit of like Gabby coming back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure it was fine, but to me, in the GM seat, it felt kind of like that like Gabby coming back kind of got buried under everything else that was happening in that episode. So that's one thing.
Probably
that
realistic though.
Right, yeah. But I think that pacing wise, that's something that I think I would have done differently, or I would have tried to do differently. The other thing is we talked about a variety of things, and I think some of them actually have even been mentioned on this stream, about things that happened in the past that would have made for excellent flashbacks. And there were a few of them. John mentioning the thing with Casey and Kit, like when Casey like sort of took a hit for like a freshman, would have been a great one. But there was another one that I had thought of a few weeks ago, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, there were a few things that I think I would have liked to have gone back and done. I think there were some like between Frankie and Kit, some like flashback scenes that I think I could have had I been a little bit more sort of settled and not in a temporary like last minute streaming setup and sort of frazzled by that. I think I probably would have been able to kind of come up with some more kind of like poignant flashback scenes with Frankie and Kit. Otherwise, I don't know that I think everything pretty much went the way that I was hoping it would. But yeah. Yeah, I think that's my answer to that question.
I would have went back and made sure we killed that lich. Joking aside, I can't really think of anything. Maybe if I had been a little bit wittier, a little bit funnier in certain things, or
but that's
whatever.
Like default baseline.
But yeah, that's like.
Yeah, we always feel that about anything we do.
Yeah, like there was a lot of like small like little moments I wanted to touch on to just like throw it out there that I knew that I wanted Maisel to have, and like once the final episode happened and I like did the Kit thing, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I did my laundry list of character interactions. We did a good job. The only other thing is I wish I rolled better.
You're telling me
tough roll.
Yeah. I mean, your one roll was narratively interesting. Mine just kept being bad.
I don't know. You had some pretty narratively interesting early on.
I guess that's true.
There were some narratively interesting low rolls. Like, certainly not as dramatic as, like, Kit's lowest roll, but but, like, there were some dramatically interesting ones. Like, for instance, I thought it was interesting, not necessarily in terms of the narrative, but in terms of, like, the world, right? Making the world feel a little bit more alive when you tried to persuade the ranger of what was happening, and he was like,
Uh-huh.
"Look, if you're just gonna be fucking around, like I'm just not gonna answer the radio or whatever." And like I thought that was just like a really cool thing because it showed like the way that, first of all, in that and the next episode, you all did such a good job of showcasing like the different ways that your characters were like dealing with the sudden shock of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then that added yet another reaction from somebody who wasn't part of the group, but definitely somebody who's part of the world. And I think that was narratively interesting, if not as dramatic. But so like you had some good low rolls that added some of that narrative kind of flow.
Yeah. I got a lot of experience. I got a lot of points, so that was nice, I guess.
The adversity
adversity tokens.
Yeah.
Boy.
I have one thing that I would have changed. I would have not died. No, I'm just kidding.
I would have rolled better this one time. I don't know if any of you noticed it.
But no, I wouldn't. The thing is, I'm happy with how things went. I think narratively things went the way they needed to for Kit. I, as a player above table, am very sad that Kit did not say it back to Frankie.
Oh.
I think it makes sense that she didn't, though. So,
Yeah.
like, I regret it, but I think it worked. I think it went the way it needed to. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good. You did such a good job portraying Kit. A really, really good job.
Mm.
It hurts so good.
I think what it did, at least from my side of things, when like watching it happen in the moment and then afterwards when I was watching it premiere, what like that moment of like Frankie saying, you know, I love you, and Kit not saying it, I think what it did for me is it sort of solidified their relationship a little bit, where like, because I didn't feel like Frankie was left hanging. If anything, I felt like Frankie they knew enough to understand that she meant it back, you know? And I think that was an interesting thing to me. Like, and I think that at least that's how it felt to me, both in the moment and then watching it later. It was like, it didn't feel like Frankie was left hanging. It felt like Frankie knew that with it, like he heard more in the silence than if she had said it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And I think part of her not saying it was like she'd accepted she wasn't going to make it, and like, why would you do that to somebody? Why would you like leave them with like this regret or this unanswered like, oh, what could have been? And like it was happening anyways, but like, yeah. I don't know.
It felt kinder to not say it.
The original plan was for Frankie was going to do it on the rooftop. But the internet was not kind to me that day, and it way threw me off in a big way. Because the rooftop was like perfect.
Yeah,
in my mind, it could, and it was perfect the way it happened too. But in my mind, it was like, oh shit, this is it. This is the moment.
Oh yeah, no, I was prepared for anything because I did at one point message Lucas asking just in case, like, if they kissed, would she accidentally make him a zombie? I just need to know. I can't do that to him.
Ooh. Yes.
Yep.
Oh god.
But we're already zombies.
I was panicked.
Yep.
We're already zombies. We found that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Oh yeah, we're all already
This is why-
infected.
We're already infected.
Yeah.
They
We
think.
can get to that. We can get to that. We can get to that. We'll get to that.
We have
Since
very little time left, so we have probably time for one more question.
Oh man, there's
Unless-
so many good ones in there.
Unless y'all want to go the full, like, the 2 hours, but the full 2 hours.
I mean, we have a lot of questions left, and they're
That's
all
true.
very juicy.
Scriv,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I'm okay. I'm okay going.
Okay.
Let's
All right.
let's do it.
guys,
You're the one with the
go
weird
like
time
a-
zone, so
Yeah,
like
you're
this
the-
is no
I mean,
pressure.
We go like another. we go
Whether
like another.
it's like one more question or we go for the full 2 hours, it doesn't make that big of a
Sure.
difference from when we started. So let's just go. Yeah,
All right.
let's do.
Yeah,
full
like
two.
if we want to go like 2 hours, like answer questions for like another 15 minutes, and then it gives us a few minutes to wrap things up.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So,
Perfect.
all right. I like following the thread that we are on right now. Then, what was going through everyone's minds as they left in the helicopter?
Oh God.
Since we're on this moment,
I mean, I've already sort of said it. Like,
Mhm.
Frankie should have spoke sooner. Is how I interpreted this in my mind. He should have spoke up, and he was afraid to because he didn't want to ruin the friendship. But now he's like on this helicopter, and he should have run after Kit, and now he's here, and he's like, fuck. Like, I guess I'm on this helicopter. We're moving forward. We're staying the course. But he was just so conflicted. Sorry.
Oh no,
You're not sorry.
I mean, that's like.
And Kit would have punched him if he came back.
Right?
She would have
Yeah.
been so pissed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Maisel's thought process was sort of on the same wavelength. Was like not trying to be like, oh, we have to get out of here. We have to like. There was like that immediate like need for survival, of course, but like I think going through every possibility of how we could find Kit or we could get Kit or like what could we have done differently? Like, could Maisel have noticed that Kit was bitten beforehand? Like, Maisel is, if there is ever going to be a next thing, it's going to absolutely eat Maisel alive that Maisel didn't notice or wasn't, like, aware of it. Because that's sort of the thing that Maisel kind of prides themselves in, is like noticing when other people are not 100% or like being on that wavelength, and like the like guilt of like I had to deal with my own shit with Casey and I couldn't see that Kit was dying. And that's gonna eat Maisel alive. And then also when we were in there and just sitting next to Frankie, because just I felt like she was like immediate thought Frankie needs to be okay, and also immediate self-loathing and despair of not having Kit there anymore. Bad times.
I hate this question.
Like I think it's I think it's not the same feelings as Maisel, but it's adjacent for Casey. Like I think what Casey is thinking is Casey is looking at all of their friends in various states of like shock and hurt over this, and I think what's going through their head is I have to be there for them. Like I wasn't there at the beginning, and then I screwed it up in the gas station, and we almost lost Gabby, but we got her back, and then I missed this. Like I was there in the room and I still missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was my friend and I should have seen it. But I was caught up in my own like stuff like I always am. So like I won't let it happen again. I have to be there for the people that are left.
Y'all, I chose the wrong liquid to put in this cup today.
I wish I had a cup of whiskey or something.
Glass over here.
I chose water like a fool. And
I've got a bottle of bourbon up there, but I don't think I should open it.
Yeah, I wish that I just had like some whiskey or some bourbon in front of me to sip after that one, because
I already finished my wine. So.
You know what? No. You know what? Screw it.
All right. No, but yeah.
All right.
What's Gabby's thoughts?
Anger and regret. Healthy dose of fear in there. Because, and I was thinking about some of this in between those episodes when I stayed behind at the gas station before the reunion in the school. So I'll preface this by saying, you guys are Gabby's family. Gabby has a family. Gabby has a mother who she loves. Gabby has 2 little brothers. Gabby is the eldest. And would do anything for them, right? Anything to protect them or try to get back to them. There was a serious decision point when Gabby was figuring out how to drive, but driving back from that gas station, do I go to where I think my friends are, or do I go home? And I did not go home. I went to all of you. And Gabby made that conscious decision, and it was very difficult. And that feeling of having everyone in one place was so, it filled us with hope, right? And I thought, okay, we've got the helicopter there, we've got this crazy Shaw guy who I probably insulted when we first met, but sure, it's fine. Everyone's stress levels are high right now. There's all water under the bridge. And we have a chance. We can get everyone out. And then to lose Kit was very difficult. There's a reason why Gabby was very quiet at the end, and Gabby regrets not saying something over that walkie-talkie. Don't know what she would have said, but anger and regret.
I'm trying to think about what the
Laughing
last
at Lucas
thing that-
getting a drink magically.
Nice.
Thanks,
What you
Cole.
drinking?
Thank you, Cole.
I think
Thanks,
this
Cole.
is,
Thank you, Cole.
I think this is
I
a gin
saw
and
that I
tonic.
could fix
It was a little too
I
much.
thought we could.
A
I
gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Amazing. I really do
No, but, like,
love and
all of
appreciate
the-
the I can fix this in chat, and then a few minutes later, a gin and tonic just appears.
Cheers,
I,
everyone.
Cole, if I get you a plane ticket,
Yeah, I think no, I have. Hey, Daniel.
actually, Bree, I'll be over after the show for a drink.
Yeah. I've got so much alcohol. Let's go.
Yeah, here in
Guys,
about 2
that was-
hours, you should be able to hear Bree and I drunkenly like, sing us a song, you're the piano man.
Disclaimer: we do not advocate for
No,
self-medication.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, God.
But Gabby
What were you
also
saying,
really admires Kit for that bravery and for that sacrifice at the end. And if this were to continue, we kind of talked about this before, like, well, what happens later on? Fast forward 10 years into the future. Kit is Gabby's inspiration for going on a rampage. In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah.
Tatted up motorcycle, everything Gabby would have wanted. Tattoo of that knife.
Yeah, what were you saying, Allison, while we were talking about alcohol?
Oh no, you're good. Y'all, that was your guys' revenge on me for what I did, and I deserved it.
Look, there's no way that type of thing could happen, and these characters that are teenagers cannot come out of it completely, like, full of self-loathing. You know? Like, this was so important to us. We had hope for a split second, and then the hope was gone, and we just had to leave. And that's going to fully affect them forever.
Yeah. It's a little bit, I think it's definitely not the thing that people are the most curious about, but I will volunteer it, which is that, so Shaw is an interesting character, and in this particular moment, so Shaw is, I don't know if it like exactly came up, but Shaw is only a couple years older than the kids. Shaw is like 19 or 20. He so Shaw is basically in the situation where, if you recall how the circumstances under which they met Shaw, he had lost the people that he had specifically come to pick up. Like, the whole reason he was there is because they didn't make their rendezvous, and the team that he had come to pick up had not made their rendezvous. So he wasn't going to leave them behind. So he went looking, and that's when he got separated from his helicopter and couldn't go back. Got injured in the process and couldn't go back. So now he finds look, that these kids, they're not my team, but maybe I can get somebody back, you know? I can get somebody back. And then to have what happened here, right? Like, to have, like, one of them not make it, but not only not make it, but also have one of them not make it so that, like basically in the reverse situation for Shaw, where like one of them was separated from, like, you know, and to have that be the person who was helping them leave. And yeah, having excuse me, having Kit get left behind, even though they hadn't even met him when Kit was bitten, he still feels a degree of, like, responsibility for the fact that not all of them made it out. So, like,
well, like, yeah, it's like, I can imagine, like, Shaw is the only, like, adult in that situation. Like, I imagine some of the, like, they're seniors in high school, so, like, a lot of these kids are probably 18, but, like, is the only, like, adult here. And so, like, you feel a sense of responsibility for a group of children, right? And that's a heavy weight to have one of them that not make it out. Like, not only do you find a group of civilians that were left behind, you find a group of children that were left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, yeah, we didn't really get a chance to get into it, but I think it makes sense that we didn't.
Yeah.
But, like, Shaw is, like, this whole time extremely torn up about the fact that his literal one and only job was, like, it went so horribly wrong. Not only did he not pick up the people that he was coming to get, he didn't even figure out what happened to them. And then he got injured and couldn't leave. Like, that's just, like, several compounding failures in his mind that, like, when the kids showed up, it's like, this is it. This is how I, like, salvage something. It would all have been worth it if I can get these kids, if I'm here when I needed to be to get these kids out of here. And then he couldn't even do that. So, yep.
Ugh. Well, we have what we all were thinking about, plus an NPC. What was Kit thinking about?
Oh boy.
She helped her friends, but what did she do after? Is she still going to try to survive, or did she throw in the towel?
I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think I'm ready for this.
It's okay. I don't think you need to be, because I think it's better if I leave it open to interpretation. I think I'd rather not answer.
Yeah.
She had a lot of thoughts in that entire scene, and so that entire finale was weird for me because I knew what Lucas was gonna do, but I didn't know when. So, like, I was really quiet on purpose throughout the episode because I didn't know when he was gonna pull that. And I wanted it to be like, oh yeah, she hadn't spoken in a while, like, whenever it did happen. But you guys all read it, but other people haven't read. I wrote a thing from Kit's point of view for that finale, and, like, her whole thought process on leaving and that moment. So I'll post it in the Discord or something today. Yeah.
It was so good. It's beautiful.
It was really good. It was really good.
And heart-wrenching.
Very good writer.
Maisel's paragraph fucking cracked me up, though. I was like, wow, alright. Cool.
It felt appropriate, though.
It's 100% appropriate.
Without spoiling anything, it felt appropriate.
It 100% was appropriate, but, like, I love playing games with you, Alison. You're so good at just attacking me.
It's funny, too, because it was around, when we were recording this, it was around the same time, it was at the same time that Bree was guesting in our, like, home D&D game, where they were, like, Alison and Bree got to hurt each other in a different way entirely.
Yeah, like, for
Lucas parent
me,
trapped
like,
us. I just need to say that.
Yeah, Lucas parent trapped me and Alison. We've never met before, and now we're sisters.
This seems to be
It was
my
always-
role in many cases.
It was always super entertaining for me because we recorded on Mondays before I had my stream, and so like y'all like we'd have that, and we would all be like, oh boy, and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go play some fucking video games and like decompress, all right? And then y'all be like, all right, we're off to hurt each other some more.
We're going to a different show.
Off to the home game.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I already had forgotten that we were pulling double duty on those days for like several
And we were all like, oh, lunch break, see you in an hour.
For like 3 days. For episodes 1, 2, and 3, where we did that.
Yeah.
And then no, was it all the way through 4?
I think so, actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it was all the way through 4 we did that.
Oh, no,
and
it wasn't.
It
wasn't, Bree, because you didn't come to that last one.
I didn't come to that last one because I had wedding stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
But so we lost Gabby, and then we also had a very dramatic episode. So.
Yep.
Oh boy.
That was a day.
Yeah,
I cried a lot that day.
Oh yeah, because you had oh god, we've done things to her.
Also, that's how Bree and I met, was like guesting in our home game, and I was very nervous because I didn't know if we were gonna get along. I just get anxious about meeting new people and stuff, and then like I just appreciate you, and I'm very glad that we met and that we are in games together. This is a lot of fun.
Me too. I love playing games with all of you. I truly adore it. It's so much fun. I'm glad that I got to play games with Scriv finally too.
Yeah. I know. I'm the newcomer to this whole party.
I know. Like this was
I'm
like
so glad.
Scriv, you and I have been on various streams together, but this is the very first time it's been with a TTRPG, which I think is very funny. Like.
I'm very grateful. And when you asked if I wanted to hop in on this, I answered immediately without any hesitation, like, yes. Why has it taken us until now to do this? We've done Rabblemancy. I've had folks on my stream, and then we played video games.
Yeah.
Gen Zero, all of that. But no actual tabletop. So I am very grateful. Thank you.
Wild. Yeah.
This has been amazing.
I'm very glad that we were able to kind of pull this all together because this was something, like I said on many occasions, this was something that was just sort of buzzing around in my back of my head for like years. This has been like buzzing around in the back of my head, and then I finally was just like, you know what? I have the power. I have given myself the power, and no one can stop me. So yeah, no, I'm really glad that all of you were able to be part of this, and so yeah.
Amid scheduling conflicts and everything.
I know. And somehow we managed to make it work.
It worked.
Somehow we made it work.
Around conflicts, time zones, like
time zones.
Just
Gen
weird, like
wedding, moving.
Like
wow,
an absolutely Herculean effort.
Right?
Yeah. Oh,
we can do anything.
Add remodeling in there too, like genuinely, like
remodeling.
I posted a picture of like, I don't remember where it was, but somewhere where like I had like the state of the studio, and like I think it was when we were recording that last episode. I posted a picture of like, here's what you think it looks like, and then here's what it looks like outside of the camera's view area, and it was a disaster zone.
It was good.
Oh,
I mean, even as it is right now.
Oh yeah,
all of my stuff is set up on top of drop cloths, so. Like
I can imagine. I can see it.
Yeah.
Just
a
because
lot of things were happening at the end of summer. A lot of things were happening at the end of summer into fall. It was a lot going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Vacations, people going on business trips. There's a lot.
Yeah. Oh.
Well,
yeah. We made it.
We made it, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It hurt my feelings, but it was so much fun.
It hurt my feelings, but like in a fun way.
In like a good way.
So I think that is all we have time for. So I think we're just gonna do our little outro stuff, and I'll give you all a chance to like talk about anything you got coming up. But I will say first of all, Don't forget, just next week, a week from today, at 6 p.m. Pacific time, The Gift of Goblins, last year's Rule of Lore Christmas special, is going to be premiering live on YouTube. So you can catch it there. Some of us will probably be in chat, as well as some of the other members of the cast whom I have invited to be there. So you may or may not see some of us dropping in and saying hi. It is a hack of Honey Heist that John did, and where we all play goblins, trying to get our hot cocoa back for the holidays. Run by the one and only Jake Kyle of Q Times. It is incredible, and I genuinely, like, if you have not seen it, like, you have to watch it. Like, you need to. You will not regret it. There are a variety of supercuts out there of one of the best running gags in the whole stream, that you may or may not have seen, that should give you a hint as to, like, what you're in for. So yeah, that'll be next week, next Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time on our YouTube channel. You can find links for that down below. And if you're on YouTube, then I don't need to tell you how to get to YouTube. Like, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you know what I'm saying. Anyway, that's what we've got going on. Other than that, Rule of Lore probably will be pretty. With the holidays coming up, our programming will be pretty sparse. Probably nothing happening on stream and programming wise. With remodeling still happening, we will be back in the new year with, like, at least Ramblemancy. There have been conversations about In Too Deep, so, like, coming back. So, like, just keep an eye out for that. And that's pretty much all I've got. Anyone else have stuff they want to talk about? What you got going on?
I'll pitch in that if you want to play the game that we played in A Gift of Goblins, it is technically up on my itch page. It is just a plain text document. I think it's up for, like, pay what you want. Like, you can literally just download it and play it. So if you want to, it is up there, along with, like, all of my other games and stuff. Of course, the new Path of Exile League dropped this afternoon, so I will be streaming that on my own personal streams all next week, because it will consume me. Probably for all of the holidays. Grinding Gear Games knows what they're doing when they release leagues, like, halfway through December. Anyway, that's really most of my announcements.
Yeah, you've seen Metroid, John. Now see PoE, John.
It's something else. The people in Bree's Discord for Community Day have gotten a taste of it.
Yeah.
John has gotten a bunch of people in my Discord into playing it with him.
Join me.
My announcements are that I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on my own channel. It's my name at Breedonin. You can find me there. I do art mostly. And my stream anniversary is actually coming up. I'll be celebrating my 3-year stream anniversary. Next Saturday. So if you would like to that's going to be roughly the end of my streaming for the year on December 17th. So, because holidays and stuff. But I'll be going off with a bang for my stream anniversary celebration, which will be community gaming and art and blush monstering all about. And just a big old celebration. So come and hang out with me then. That's
Awesome.
it. That's what I've got.
Oh yeah, we're good. Bree and I both are going to be playing Overcooked tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we're gonna be playing Overcooked in real life. He's gonna be coming over here and with my husband, and we're gonna be playing Overcooked on the couch.
Nice.
It'll be a good time.
I thought there was going to be an actual obstacle course in your kitchen. I was really confused.
No, I wish.
That would be amazing. That's next level commitment to the
Very
content.
commitment. No, it is an IRL couch co-op stream of playing Overcooked.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to catch that one day.
it'll be really fun.
Hell yeah. All right. Anybody else have stuff?
I do actually. So I don't know if any of you are following my updates on the Twitters at Scriv the Bard, but December 21st to the 23rd is this year's annual Scribbler Hug charity event. So it'll be a multi-day streaming event filled with gaming, artwork, I think now 3 different TTRPG one-shots, which I'm super, super excited about, and having some special family-friendly creator storytelling games. All throughout the week, we're going to have giveaways. We are raising money for War Child and Become. And the last day, we'll have some special surprises as well, which I am not at liberty to say. I signed an NDA with myself, and that special announcement will probably hit at the end of Thursday's stream.
Nice.
But yes, please come and hang out with us and help us raise money for some really, really amazing causes, helping vulnerable children around the world. And yeah, just we're kicking off with me doing an all-day gaming stream with whichever game the poll decides on Twitter. It's between a replay of Undertale, which was my very first streamed game a couple years ago, my life as a teenage exocolonist, which also looks really cool, and another fun indie game called Donut County. Right now, Teenage Exocolonist is winning, and it is on sale for the next 2 days on Steam, so I'm going to have to jump in there pretty quick. But yeah, all-day gaming and rating our favorite holiday snacks.
Nice.
For charity. That's all I got. Come hang out 21 through 23rd December, and you might see a couple familiar faces from this stream in there.
Nice.
Official announcements later.
Awesome. All right. Nope. Okay.
I have a charity stream I'm going to be in next week. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be retweeting announcements and stuff. But Twitter at Tarotbull, like tarot cards, like BLE.
Nice.
So
Nice.
You have such a good Twitter handle.
yeah,
It's very good.
follow me for announcements about that. I'm going to be in a Nutcracker themed one shot, and it's going to be very fun.
That's super
very
cool.
Awesome.
Hi, Madeline. If you're watching, I'm very excited to play in your game.
All right. Well, everyone.
Yep.
We will. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out and asking questions, chatting with us. We will see you hopefully in the new year when we begin our next slate of content. But if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.